Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with K Montes Art Studio, and we have another art date. You guys always seem to love these. I always seem to love these, so I find any excuse to find an exhibit to go visit. So on this particular day, I visited the Woodmere Art Museum in Philadelphia, and I went the day before my birthday. It was a little birthday gift to me from my wife, and we then had dinner afterwards. So, a little history about the Woodmere Art Museum. They have a mission to inspire creativity, learning, and self expression through experience with the art and the artists of Philadelphia and the region. So, primarily, they do exhibit Philadelphia and Philadelphia artists and anyone in the region. So a lot of these things that we see today are local artists, and they house a lot of their exhibits inside, which is a 19th century stone mansion on a 6-acre piece of property in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia. So that's an enormous piece of property. I would love to go back there. Of course, we went on the hottest day of the summer. It was like 98 degrees and we were dying, but I had so much fun. I love the heat, so it didn't bother me too much, but my wife was like sweating. I so badly want to go back when it's a nicer, cooler day. And look at this mansion. It's amazing. It would be beautiful to sketch and just have some plein air paintings outside. So they're free on Sundays, I believe, every Sunday, and they have all types of activities. They have music festivals, they have all types of different exhibits every now and then, and everything that I visited was so much fun. So this exhibit was all about William Daley, and he lived from 1925 to 2022. So he was almost 100, and he was a world-renowned ceramicist. He was celebrated for large-scale unglazed vessels. And what I love about this particular exhibit is that it focuses on human figures, and he really focused on making the figures very voluptuous and almost like food-like. I really loved how he created his ceramics. They look like stone, and they're kind of deconstructed human figures. So he really focused his later years on figurative sculpture, and he worked with different metals, woods, and clays. So this could be the reason why some of his work in ceramics look very stone-like, because he created almost a very particular effect by not glazing these works. He was also known as a great draftsman and skilled drawing person, and I think you can see that in some of his designs. He really thought through a lot of his ceramics, and he drew out over and over again in repetition of some of his works, and I really appreciate the repetition that he shows in a lot of his figurative works and just his overall designs for his ceramics. Definitely check out his work and take a second to pause on this clip here to read more about him. So moving into the Just In, this particular exhibit shows artists from Philadelphia from the 20th and 21st centuries. So some of these artists are old, some of them are young. And it was very impressive to see the age range and the year that some of these works were completed. I really enjoyed a lot of the drawings and the mixed media pieces. And some of these art pieces were very interesting to me based off of the detail. I love the detail of this particular drawing. This particular drawing was an etching, and I love the detail and color of that. There were so many great pieces in this mini collection, and I really appreciate the age and year range of a lot of these works. Moving into the next exhibit, this is probably one of my biggest regrets. I checked my email and I received an email about submitting into this particular show, and I missed the date. I did not realize that this was the same museum until I visited the museum. Then I checked my email, and then I noticed that when I was reading the little blurb for the particular exhibit, this is the one that was mentioned. So this was a juried exhibit, and a lot of these artists are up and coming and magnificent artists. But for sure, the next exhibit that they send my way, I will be submitting. A lot of these artists I would love to have been next to. I mean, some of these works were phenomenal. They were contemporary pieces. Some pieces were very interesting and intricate. I really love this one piece that focuses on Hispanic culture and really dives into some of the elements that remind me of home, and this is the piece. And I loved how they chose to display on pots and pans to kind of give it that aspect of home. And some of the things that they use on this canvas are very interesting, like ads, acrylic, dirt, and mud. I loved that piece in particular because it really resonated with me. So I'm not sure if you noticed those little spiral stairwell that were there. Yeah, we had to climb those stairs. There was another option to climb up the stairs, but I wanted to experience the spiral. So much fun. Then I realized that the balcony was very narrow and very scary. So prepare for that view. So as I'm going through this exhibit on the second floor, I couldn't stop and observe any painting at all because I'm afraid of heights. And I was really trying hard not to be afraid. But as you can see here, I'm holding onto the railing for my dear life, especially because the railing was open and very easy to access to the floor below. I don't know how to explain it, but my body was like frozen. And so it was very tough to manage recording and observing and enjoying the art. So I couldn't really do that. So what I ended up doing was just capturing the best of the views, and my wife took some good footage. I did the best that I could. I tried to capture the overall view. And I ended up kind of just walking very slow, as you saw, and it seems to be somewhat okay. So what I ended up doing is finally exiting the second floor, and I just sat downstairs and observed from above. Here are the second set of stairs. Although there were second set of stairs, I don't think that that would have stopped my fear from the height of the second floor balcony. But I enjoyed myself from the bottom floor. So this next exhibit was a unique one. It had a bunch of different combinations of pieces that were, in my opinion, very well curated. You all know that I love a really well curated show, and a lot of the pieces were tied together, and they all had some sort of religious theme. I'm not exactly sure if it was intentional or if that's just how things were curated. This particular stained glass was beautiful. I thought this was hilarious. It was a replica of a famous painting. It was actually printed on some type of canvas form, and then they chose to add the cake on top of the area where the woman was sitting. So then they had a mini exhibit of all student works, and it was so adorable. Then we moved into sort of like the federal time zone of the exhibit, where some of these works are way older, and they were very Georgian federal style, very similar to the room itself. I really love the yellow wall, which is unexpected for what you would typically see in an exhibit, but I think this is the portion of the exhibit where things were starting to relate back to the original home and the original paintings that may have been acquired. I didn't really dive too deeply into some of these paintings. Again, referring back to what I enjoy most are more contemporary expressionistic style arts, and a lot of these were very realistic. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't think I was as interested in some of these. But it was nice to see some of the historic aspects of this particular home. And there were a lot of fun elements within this section that you can see the house being frozen in time. So this is the main entry, and as soon as you walk in, it resembles a mansion immediately. That's the entry to the house, and that is the outside view. I cannot imagine living here. I mean, I could imagine. I would love to live here actually. And I think this would have been like the formal living room. And the other side where the yellow walls were, I think it would have been like the formal dining. They had a couple of pieces that were original, I think, to the owner or maybe the founder. Again, I didn't do too good of a research on this particular segment. But I love the originality to the floorboards, to the stained glass windows, to some of the easels. These easels were amazing. Like, take a look at some of the embroidered wood piece elements in those easels. And this little dollhouse was part of their family. And I think the dollhouse very closely resembles the actual house. This particular piece here with a woman looking at herself in the mirror was very interesting to me. I'm not a big fan of realism, but something about that purple really drew me in. This was such a great birthday present. I had so much fun. And then the next day, I did everything that I dreamt of, having a picnic, filming myself, and just having fun. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.